So the things that are going on in France slowly trickle into Saint-Dominique. And in 1789, slaves hear a rumor that Louis has freed them. Shortly thereafter, the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen gives hope to slaves and free people of color that laws are going to change to include them. At the same time, the Petit Blanc, the poor white people, identify a lot with the Third Estate and begin lobbying for lower taxes and independence, which honestly is really effed up because the reason they want lower taxes and independence is because they think they're the oppressed ones because they're so poor that they can't afford slaves, which will allow them to be successful, right? So all sorts of problems going on with this. But one thing we need to think about is the broader context of what's happening in 1789-90, but then especially 1791, where things start to pick up. One, France is at war with pretty much all of Europe by this point, as we saw in the French Revolution. And in May of 1791, the French National Assembly granted citizenship to all free men of color in the colonies, as long as they had a certain amount of property and as long as their parents hadn't been slaves and as long as they had enough money, right? So plenty of qualifications. It sounds great, but then once you dig into it, it's not as nice as it actually sounds. Who's that going to piss off in Haiti? Well, the Petit Blanc, the poor white people who, to their mind's eye, should be higher up than those folks in the social totem pole. Well, who else is that going to upset? The slaves who get left out of everything here. And in August of 1791, there is a massive slave revolt. Its leader is a guy by the name of Toussaint L'Ouverture. So let's take a look at him and the revolt itself on the next slide.